individual contributor out there, learn the business. I wanted to get together because you've been talking to a lot of technology leaders. It's been exciting to see all those different episodes that you've been recording with different folks from Silicon Valley over here in Southern California. But the reason why it's super exciting is because of this time that we have right now, which changes a lot of things.
Yes.
So I've seen world turning upside down for a lot of technology leaders with their current jobs. I've seen world turn upside down for a lot of operational leaders. And I've seen world turn upside down for individual contributors.
Mm-hmm.
So what's exciting about this is that we're living in that moment of a great change where even though every technology stack changes every 5 years, right now with AI, it seems like the change is much greater, which changes the whole mindset of how we build software. So I wanted to reflect on the episodes that you've been recording, which is actually very hot off the press. So what I'm seeing is an issue with trust. So a lot of technology leaders, they see a lot of potential in this tool, but they don't trust it fully. They still want to put a lot of safeguards. They want to review the code that is happening. They want to put more control. That's what I've been seeing so far. However, that is changing. So with the recent episodes, more technology leaders are trusting it. So I guess we're getting over the barrier of that trust now. Agentic coding is very big. I think a lot of technology leaders start to believe in that approach. They're starting to implement. The first adopters are more of a smaller companies. They don't have a lot of barriers. They go in there and build a greenfield project with a new stack. They get super excited about this and they start sharing their concepts and start propagating that change. So that changes a lot of things for technology leaders. For operational leaders and for business owners, really CEOs, they're seeing a lot of potential. However, the challenge comes in is with understanding what's real, what's not real, what is easy, what's not easy, and where we can deliver the most value. So on a not so brighter side, there's still things happening where AI implementation is used for a reason for laying off a lot of people. In some instances, these layoffs happening because of other reasons unrelated to AI, which is overhiring during the pandemic, focus on profitability or things like that. But at the same time, AI does play a role with this because right now there's new tooling and now we need new people who knows how to use it and who believes in it from the get-go and lets go of old beliefs. And that leads me to the next type of person that have been affected with the whole AI revolution, let's put it that way.
I call it AI era.
AI era, there we go. Right, so whoever used to write code and believing in I mean, look, I've been pioneering all those best practices, writing good code and all this stuff for the last, 15 years or more.
Yeah.
But right now that I also gotten on the dark side of, the business operations, I start realizing that in the end, it's really the velocity and achieving the business outcomes. That's what matters more. It's still craftsmanship is important, but there's no point in craftsmanship if your beautiful code doesn't deliver business value. What I've seen is there has been some resistance from individual contributors. What I've seen in more of the, I wouldn't call it old school, but people who've been taught in a more traditional way have problems of letting it go. And the faster we have our individual contributors everywhere to embrace the new wave, the more layoffs are going to slow down. Because in the end, that's why companies are doing is they need fresh blood. They need fresh people who has AI to begin with.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see new episodes of a new season that you've been recording this trip. I think these people the new people and the people who we talked to, they bring in that knowledge straight from the boots on the ground in a ever evolving, in a highly evolving field of AI right now, who will be able to tell us what the new chapter is.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to see what that thing is. So, do you want to share a little bit of a preview of what's about to come in the new next season?
Without mentioning anything specific to the show. So, what I like about this trip and these episodes that are coming compared to what we had before is that even people who we talked in the past, now they are, as you said, more, I'll say, embedded on the idea of AI is here, futures now. And we just need to get more comfortable to continue developing with this new tool that has proven to be majestic, to put it in some words, that has changed the way we used to code from the times where we were talking binary and then using structured language, and now we're coming back to natural language. So we are getting into a different way of communicating with the machine to make it do what we want. And then is the this idea of what's workable, what's reliable. There is also a lot on what we are trusting, not just in the outcome, but on the thing that AI is going to be able to do for ourselves in the daily of our life, which it's a thought that we have from previous episodes, but I think it's getting solidified on now we can start thinking about not just mentioning AI as some fad or some trend, but something very real, something very needed for us to have a good handshake with it and evolve together. I mean, still hearing concerns of people that don't want to lose, I wouldn't call it control, but definitely the ability to interject on what the AI is doing and how it's evolving and creating all these new tools that we are going to be using, or the agentic, or even go as far as to talk about the super intelligence type of tools that we are going to have in the future. But more about not being resistant to it, but being cautious about what has to be done, and then embrace it with the real concerns, but not with this lack of interest on making it work. I think that the message in the end that I've been hearing is the more you resist to work together with it, the more behind you are going to be left. And is as long as you continue to be a human on the loop, I think that's where we can believe that the future is bright. And in terms of what's going to affect the individual contributor or even the technology leader, I think that there's really nothing to be scared about. I think that at the very beginning we were thinking that, oh, AI is taking over and that's it. I mean, it's the end of the coder, it's the end of the software engineer. And the end of the coder might be, but not the end of the software engineer, because now we're going to be able to produce better code, much faster. Why not more reliable? But because we are going to have people with good roots into building algorithms, into understanding how things need to be architected or structured, without having the roadblock or the concerns that people need to understand a particular language. Now you can just interact with the thing and iterate with it. And as long as you ask in a good way, with clarity and with an understanding or all the context that has to be taken care to actually achieve the problem solution, because in the end it's still the same thing. We are problem solvers, and AI is just democratizing the way you can actually achieve that without having barriers that in the past were very explicit to a particular niche of people. So yeah, I can see how software development is here to stay. It's just going to be more and more efficient, if anything.
Yeah, this is good preview. So another thing I think worth mentioning that we're seeing right now in 26 is entrepreneurs.
Yes.
So we are seeing that now where there's more and more people who before, because of the high barrier to entry, weren't able to get their ideas out, ideated, or even turned into something working and making revenue. We're seeing more of them. We're seeing more of them. I think it's easy to build things, and I think what's about to happen is going to be a new wave of a lot more new startups being created, and it's going to be a new wave of once AI gets adapted to the point where it's just what you do.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, businesses is going to have the ability to produce more business value. And I think it's going to drive demand for software engineering.
Yes.
I think we are in a more of a like a, kind of stabilizing before it gets up into the whole new level.
Correct. Yeah, and to your point, and to link it with what I was saying, so this democratization of the software engineering will allow definitely more people to get into it, but not knowing the roots of what you need to do in order to build a successful system, that's where the demand for software engineers will continue, and you will have value on the mindset and on the knowledge. So business-wise, people will be able to plot their ideas in a more perhaps visual stage. But in the end, to take them to the next level, you will definitely need to still have a team of people who know from the engineer side of the things to prevent flaws, to optimize the outcomes of the AI itself. We are also now talking about the cost of AI, because sure, you can interact with it, but unless you know how to do it correctly or how to prompt correctly, it could be very expensive. I mean, just asking for things that shouldn't be asked, because those could have be either abbreviated or even set in a way of context or additional instructions to prevent you from repeating things that are not that needed. You can now talk about cost efficiency on building, even if you're going to do it with natural language. But the way to make it scalable would be to do it in a manner that is efficient, that is reliable from the origin of being very precise on what you want. Because as I was saying on a comment the other day, we are on the moment where what you prompt is what you get.
Yeah, yeah, very well said. A lot of people bring in AI as, I wouldn't use the word silver bullet, but they bring in it as an accelerator for whatever they do. But what I'm seeing is that behind any AI initiative, there are same old problems of software engineering.
Yes.
So another thing to be cautious of is that while AI make it seem software engineering to be easy, it also can backfire on you, where people who just treat it as a silver bullet will be having even more unrealistic expectations of when things need to get done. So there's that.
So to that point, my recollection of everything is that talking on AI at the software engineering level has to be described more about what I think is dead to a degree is coding. But software engineering is still very alive. And to what I said before, having the roots of understanding how systems work and systems are built is not changing. The only thing that changed is that AI is very good with language, and now you can produce any kind of language by just prompting it to natural language. But what you prompt is what you get. I mean, as long as you know what you want to solve a problem, you will be able to build very interesting tools with AI. But that doesn't mean that the software engineer career is dead. It's just evolving to a bright new way of doing things. I wouldn't dare to say less complicated or more successful or achievable. I mean, I'm lacking in words, but my point is that good developers are going to develop good things with AI the same way bad developers will develop bad things with AI. So
Yeah.
it's more about the engineer itself, and the AI remain a tool, the biggest tool of our generation, yes, but that doesn't change the fact that the brighter minds will have the better benefit of it. And the only thing, as you were saying, is we are going to be able to allow people who have good ideas that didn't have the knowledge on how to build. Now they have that opportunity, but if they're going to be successful, will be more because they knew what they want to solve, and that they will also get around people who will help them to take the next step. Because in the end, again, software engineers are still here needed. It's just the next evolution of the stack. I guess what's getting a thing of the past is that the structure of coding the way we knew, and now we're evolving to a different way of producing the same type of code that the machine needs to operate. But from the interface point of view, it's where it's getting simpler. I wouldn't call easier, simpler.
Yeah.
But again, the backbone of every development it's on the engineer.
You know, underneath AI, there's still all kinds
Yeah.
of software engineering. So, how does AI now get into the operational roles?
So I guess there are two things that AI is doing. So for once, we talked already about that. So it's helping engineers to develop new stuff. And in a meeting that we have earlier today, we were asked about, so what are you using AI for? Are you using it to create, or you are using it to integrate into stuff? So in the same way with the operational people, I guess they are not necessarily caring how things work as long as they get the result to their problem. So operation people will not worry about as they don't worry right now if things are made in React, or if there is some Django there, or what database was used, or if it is a no-code base. I mean, they don't care about that. So in the same way, I guess that the only interesting thought of them believing that with AI we are going to be able to solve problems that could have been more difficult in the past, that's where things start changing, because tools are being developed much quicker. So solution to routinary problems that operational people has will get solved much easier. And the use of AI underneath them will allow not just the tool, but the user to interact with agents that will have some kind of knowledge about their function, to challenge them into being more effective, into being more precise on what they are doing. So again, efficiency, I guess, is the word of the game. AI is going to be a catalyst that will produce efficiency in multiple roles. Everything that before was considered difficult to achieve because there was no solution for it, AI will bring it either as a byproduct of someone using it to get the solution, or by integrating it in other type of products that will eventually help you achieve what you're trying to do on your business.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen basically from a lot of operational roles, there's a lot of interest in using AI, and that comes to usually two levels. One is getting off the shelf AI, basically opening ChatGPT, Claude. We have CFOs loading financials there, seeing trends, plotting things. Then there's a next level where basically that's where you grab cloud code or codex, and then that's where you basically start getting those skills and AI agents going, what I've seen is some of the product managers start putting together, systems on top of that, where there's a setup to produce roadmaps and getting everything happening. And I feel like between those two things, that's where it comes a role of the AI integrator per se. It's somebody who can take a look at what operational person is able to achieve with off-the-shelf AI, and then seeing how that can be taken to the next level with either producing a customized AI setup or taking that and integrating with other systems. So I feel like this has been going as a natural evolution from where it was going from just coding to no code, low code, and now AI bridging the gap. So what's happening? It breaks the wall between software engineers and non-software engineers. Before, if you hear the word coding, oh my goodness, I can't touch it. I gotta hire a software engineer. He's gonna go and do that whole magic, and all of a sudden we have something happening. Right now, that barrier gets, I wouldn't say blown away, but gets blurred the more than ever. Where still, it's important to know how to not kind of get too deep into the weeds, right? So I can imagine, if you don't really know software engineer, at some point in your integration journey, you're going to hit some sort of inefficiency where bringing in the specialized resources better. But at the same time, that also, I would say, keeps software engineer accountable for the results. There's no longer a privilege of knowing that special skill that you knew before, that only you can go and fix that thing. Right now, I wouldn't say anybody can, but it's easier now to go in there, and that creates, I think, a healthy pressure between those two worlds.
I mean, the accountability of the results, I guess it's important. And that's where I think that the software engineer will still be relevant, because the main issue that I can see on non-technical people building their own stuff with AI is that they will not take into consideration things that a software engineer will from the get-go, like infrastructure, scalability, security, and many other things that are needed when you build a system, because they are just perhaps building a function thinking that they will have a business based upon a product, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. And in order for them to actually achieve a point where they can go to the investors and say, I have a solution for this problem and here is it, they will really need to dig into what I'm missing. And sure thing, you can ask the AI to show you what's missing, but you will get deep into the rabbit hole, as you were saying, into a territory that it will start to get abstract to someone that doesn't know how things are made. Because you could be very creative and have very well understanding of business side of things, but when the same AI will start asking you about security implementations, you might end up being in a void that you will feel that you are completely lost. And that's where getting some expert in the matter that could still leverage AI to achieve the next level of whatever is missing on your application, that will continue to be there. And as it's been said multiple times, AI will continue to be a tool, and tools around AI will get built. And the AI tools that we know now, maybe in the future, are not going to continue, or will be a different evolution. And we will continue talking about AI, but it'll be interesting to see, same as we were saying before. So first it was binary, then it was structured code, then natural language. So now we're talking agentic, but how that agentic will look in 2 to 3 years, that's where it's going to be very interesting. And the people behind those, even if they are using AI, those are the ones that are going to be credited for the success of utilizing AI to build the future that it feels that we are currently living. But I think we are still just scratching the surface. And I mean, I can see how some routinary tasks will be led to be used by AI. And in the same way that technology that we are currently using, we end up relying on. So in the future, we will rely on some agentic coding that was created great with the boundaries and the guardrails and supervised by people who understand how things should have been done. And now you can just use them to deploy different things. And this will be a tool that was made with AI to build the next set of tools, even a
Yeah.
new version of itself, perhaps.
Yeah. Actually, I'm seeing, first of all, a lot of AI companies, the big AI makers, they drive a lot of innovation by people just using off-the-shelf AI as is. But another wave of innovation that's currently being developed in the trenches is developed by technology leaders themselves.
Yeah.
It's by them grabbing those AI models and AI tooling and actually integrating them either in their own businesses or creating processes that develop the software better and then pushing that knowledge out there in the open so more people know about it. So to continue on what you said before, since that whole separation is blurring right now between technical and non-technical people, my message to individual contributor software engineer is learn the business. It's right now becoming important, not only learning your craft but learning how the business works and how you can contribute towards business outcomes and what your code actually does for the business is going to take any software engineer on the next level. And right now, where AI can generate a lot of code, where a lot of the refactors, test writing, a lot of things that used to take a lot of mental energy and effort to go and get it done, now it's going to become more and more relevant to do two things. Like you mentioned, architecting software and learning the business. I know a lot of people don't want to do it. And I know a lot of people went to become software developers just because they don't like to go and figure out business side of things. But the reality is that your code cannot live in a vacuum, and you now have to learn how to love it. But I think it's a good thing. I think in the end, I've seen brilliant software engineers struggling and producing less results than less senior engineers who make that connection between the business problem and their code, even though the quality of the end result code have been different, the value that it delivers to the business, it's what makes that whole difference. So in the end, message is very simple: individual contributor out there, learn the business.
Did you enjoy this video? Then hit the like button and share it with your network. Also be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.